What did your boyfriend, girlfriend do that made you think I'm going to marry this person?
I was already in love with him, and figured I'd spend my life with him. Then my sister had an aneurysm and died some weeks later. His care and compassion during that period really sealed the deal. I was sitting at her funeral with him, and realized that one day one of us would have to bury the other. That was sad, but okay. It's been 14 years since then. We've been happily married for 12 and together 18 all up.
We were best friends almost from the moment we met, but the specific time that sticks out was a night we spent talking and laughing on her balcony all night until the sun started coming up. Felt like I was reunited with a part of myself that I never knew was missing.
Words don't do it justice. I promise you that however great it sounds, in reality it's even better. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that to try and rub it in, I'm telling you because it's important to remember whenever you are on the fence about going for it. Even if you were to be rejected 10,000 times and ended up in 100 bad relationships, the one is worth every second of looking. Best of luck. That's almost exactly what happened with me. Except we laid in my driveway talking until the sun came up. I remember there was a break in conversation and I realized how much at home I felt. It was crazy, because we hadn't been friends for too long, but got together soon after that. Now it's 7 years later, and I still feel that feeling.
My now wife is the first person I ever opened up to about one of my childhood best friends dying when we were in middle school. I don't know what prompted it, but I felt comfortable enough to share with her only a few months into our relationship, and when I broke down crying, she held me and comforted me and was just an absolute angel. We were only 19, but I think I knew then.
My grandmother passed away very early into me and my fiancé's relationship. I'm very emotional and he had every right to be scared off, but was nothing but supportive and caring. And when my dad got sick, I absolutely could not have handled it without my fiancé's support. Knowing I could cry whenever I wanted and he would be there to be my shoulder is the truest love I've ever felt.
My wife, then girlfriend, and I went to Chicago for Riot Fest in 2013. I would get strep like twice a year, finally got tonsils out in 2014, and on the last day of the festival, I caught it. We were supposed to leave on Tuesday morning, and we had Monday to explore Chicago. But I felt like complete shit and had a high fever. She took care of everything. She went to Target and got me some cheap lounge clothes, got me food, rescheduled our flight, extended our stay in our hotel room. She did it all, man. We flew from Chicago to Seattle, Seattle to Anchorage, so I had a lot of time on the flight to reflect. That kinda solidified it for me. She was so selfless and caring and knew I wanted to be with her forever. We're both military and she was supposed to leave Alaska in like 6 months, and I didn't want to risk long distance or her leaving, so we hurried up and got married like 2 weeks after the Chicago sick trip. Dated for a year and a half, and this month will be our 7-year wedding anniversary.
When I explained my view of marriage and how I expected to be loved and respected, and he agreed 100%. Explaining it back to me in such a way that convinced me he believed the same, and that he truly listened to me and respected my mind and values. I started crying and was sure from that moment on. 3 years later we got married, 5 years after that, and he's exceeded every expectation. I had a dream of what marriage could be, but what it really is for me, far exceeds what I had hoped.
It's what he didn't, and did, do. He wasn't intimidated or put off by being around my special needs sibling, and after I briefly mentioned a particular food my sibling liked, he brought her some and gave it to her himself, even helping her open the package. Guys I had dated before just stared uncomfortably at her from a distance.
I had somebody ask my stepmother whether this nice boy sitting next to me at the dinner table at a wedding was her son-in-law, and I said, quite without thinking about it, not yet. And rather than seeming at all alarmed, my then boyfriend made a face rather like that of a newly adopted puppy which has just discovered it is not going back to the pound.
My dog instantly liked him. He is bald and has a beard. My dog historically didn't like men in general, but especially bald men with beards. My dog liked him the first time she met him, on our second date. It made me decide that he was someone I would want to be serious with. We've been married for 7 years and have a 3-year-old daughter. My dog made the right choice.
While we were dating, I got really sick. My body looked, felt, and smelled horrible, sickly sweet smell. I was in and out of hospitals trying to figure out what it was, and that whole time he never left. I told him during that I wouldn't blame him for leaving since I looked horrible, and instead of doing fun stuff all I did was go back and forth between my bed and the hospital. It was definitely not what he signed up for, but he took my face in his hands and said, "You're beautiful." He looked me in the eyes, then kissed my forehead. He's done many more things, but that one was the first real time I was like, I need him to be my rock. I love this man. That whole ordeal lasted 3 long years. We've been married 4 years now. He's definitely been my rock through some really hard times since then, and I'm grateful for him. We were both working at a restaurant and he was a bus boy. My mom was there drinking with her friends and was pretty much white girl wasted. My now husband went up to her and asked to take her plate. She stood up and said, "No motherfucker, but you can get me some Jägermeister." He walked to the employee area not far from my drunken mom. I asked him if he was alright and he said, "Yeah, but there's some bitch over there," and points at my mom. I chuckled and replied, "Yeah, that's my mom." Every inch of his exposed skin flushed and he started stammering. I realized he liked me and offered my number so he wouldn't feel so bad. We've been married 14 years.